2020 CF 260 versus State of Florida versus Sarah Boone. Announce your names for the record, beginning with the state.
Dave Ketchner on behalf of the state.
William J. for the state.
Defense.
James Owens for Sarah Boone.
Tony Henderson for Sarah Boone.
Ms. Boone, raise your right hand to be sworn, please. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Ma'am, good morning. Could you state your full name and date of birth for the record for us?
Sarah Boone, 10-10-7-7.
All right, Ms. Boone is seated at counsel's table wearing a black blazer and a dark blue blouse. She is in custody. However, she is not in any restraints, so we will continue to stand while the jury panel enters and exits. My understanding is that our panel is here this morning. State, do we have any housekeeping matters we need to address before we bring back in our panel?
Yes, sir. 3 discovery issues, and then I filed a motion late last night requesting an in-camera inquiry into a potential conflict of interest. I copied your JA.
I did review the motion.
Okay. The 3 discovery issues are these. One, on October 5th or October 4th, I believe the defense was provided with the body-worn camera and 911 calls from the prior incidents, and there was a request made to tell us what, if anything, should be redacted from their point of view so that we could either reach an agreement or use the court's resources to decide any conflicts in those issues. Yesterday morning was the first actual response I got from the defense team, and it was incomplete. It was about 3 of the 5 incidents. I do agree with 2 of the redactions, and we're getting those taken care of. But obviously, just like connecting to the court screen, it takes time, and I'm not the person that's going to be doing it. Somebody else in the office has to do it. The 3rd incident, I think we're still not on the same page as to what the state's planning on introduce. So I resent the email with the screenshots of what files the state plans on introducing to the defense team again this morning. I have not heard anything yet from the defense team about the 4th and 5th incident. I was told that Attorney Beck was going to handle it. It is now Tuesday, day 7 of trial, and he has not handled it. The second discovery issue is Friday, I was given a hard copy of the 119 pages of the second copy of the Winter Park Advent Health records.
On 10/18, October 18th? That would have been the
Friday.
preceding Friday.
I was given the hard copy after court at about 5:30, 5:45. I emailed the PDF of those records back to the defense as they requested. I put Bates numbers on them. I understand from court what pages they indicated that they want to use and what pages the court indicated should be included at the state's request, which is pages 26 and 48 out of the 111. I would just appreciate if I could get a copy of the intended exhibit as it shall be introduced into court so I can confirm those things ahead of time and not in court. And then the third thing is, I believe we had a discussion about the plethora of pages regarding the victims' hospital records, and that there was some sort of discussion we had that they were to narrow it down, and I have not been given any narrowed down version of that so that we can confirm we're on the same page or use the court's time if there's a conflict. Thank you.
Okay. Responses to the first discovery issue regarding body-worn camera and 911 calls is to the, my understanding, 5 prior incidents. Defense.
Judge, I can speak to 3 of them. There were 3 of them that I reviewed, and I believe I reviewed them on Sunday. I had made the decision for what I thought needed to be redacted. I think the first 2, if I remember correctly, I said that was fine. We didn't even have any redactions to it. I think it's 1 that I said redactions to, and I think the state agrees with that. The specific one that I didn't quite know, and I think that has to do with a body cam where it comes to, and I believe it's Mr. Torres' mother. I can't quite be for sure, but she's been asking questions and all, and I think it's about, if I can recall correctly, about Mr. Torres' whereabouts at that time. I didn't know the relevance of that at that time. that was the only part of that, to let the state know. I just don't really know the relevance. It could come in at a different point and become relevant. But as to the other two, I think we were on page with. I had been out to the jail that day, it was late. Then I asked Mr. Beck to do the other two redactions, but I hadn't had the opportunity to talk to him about that since, so that's where we are there.
So is the third incident that the state has identified for which there's seemingly no responses to redaction, is that the body-worn camera purportedly between law enforcement and Mr. Torres's mother?
That's what I believe it to be.
Mr. J?
Bless
you.
We're just not on the same page. On that third incident, which I believe was June 15th of 2019, the state only indicated to them that we were intending to introduce one video file. It is not of the victim's mother. It is of them at Sarah Boone's house. And the objection to the files that they were objecting to, which we don't seek to introduce, just said ID. And I don't know that as a legally recognized objection. So I'm confused. I'm not sure. I'm just trying to make sure we're all on the same page. We understand which file the state wants to use regarding that third incident, because he's describing files the state does not intend to use. The first couple of incidents, we agreed. There's a 911 call that seemingly cuts off into an OPD call at 3 minutes and 51 seconds. We're cutting that to the end. The second one, Ms. Boone at like 3 minutes and 43 seconds indicates that she had been arrested prior. So we cut that out at their, we're going to cut that out at their request, even though that cat's out of the bag. So what we're looking for now is just making sure we're all on the same page about the third incident. I sent screenshots. There's a tool called Snipping Tool in Windows. I literally create a rectangle around the files that I'm intending to use, their file size, and the folder that includes the OCSO agency case number incident, so we could be as crystal clear as possible. And I'm still getting objections about things we don't want to introduce on that incident, and I've gotten no response with the fourth and fifth incidents.
All right, addressing the third incident is the specific portions of the June 15, 2019 incident, seemingly the body-worn camera that you're making reference to, Mr. Henderson, the state has no intention of utilizing.
Yes, sir. And Judge, it's a lot, so if I could have one more
Sure.
to isolate which incident it is. That's not the one. My understanding is the state is talking about the third incident. That would be June 18th.
Here's the problem. I sent these pictures over with the OCSO case number, and then I get a response based on incident dates. So we have to kind of cross-reference. So we can just make the record entirely clear. OCSO incident 18-067501. There was no 911 calls and apparently no objection. So they have no redactions requested for that 2018 case. Then the next response was 6/15/2019 case. And that, for the record, is OCSO 19-054917. Their request on that one was the 911 call that we just discussed, indicating that at 3:51, well, I had to find it, 3:51, it turns into another case, and to redact that to the end. We agreed. Video 3 in that file, again, no file name, indicates at 9:40 to 9:43, there's a redact request with paren previous arrest. The state agrees to that. We heard her quickly say that at 9:43, and we will get that taken care of. Then their next response was 6/18/2019 case. which I had to cross-reference back to show that it is OCSO 19-055572. And in that particular case, what I sent them was a screenshot that includes the OCSO case number 19-055572, and it indicates there is an intent by the state to introduce 2 911 calls and 1 video file labeled axon_flex_2_video_2019-06-18_1330. My response that I received from them was video 3 in file, 2 minutes 7 seconds to 2 minutes 18 seconds paren ID, and then video 4 in file, 2 minutes and 4 seconds to 2 minutes and 16 seconds paren ID. So my confusion lies in I did not indicate 3 or 4 files, it was just 1 file. And then again, with the other 2.
I don't want to address 4 and 5 yet.
Okay.
It's my understanding there's no response. We'll address that momentarily. Responses to the clarification as to what it is the state seeks for incident 3.
No redaction.
Okay, all right. With regard to incidents 4 and 5, Mr. J, could you place on the record what it is specifically as to those incidents the state may be seeking to introduce?
Yes, sir. So what we're calling incident number 4 should be OCSO 19-078009, August 28th, 2019. We indicated the desire to use axon_flex_video_2019-08-28-2024. And then at their request, they had desired to get photos of Ms. Boone's injuries from that case. There is a 19-page PDF file which has pictures taken by law enforcement of her injuries. I don't see anything else in there. 1 picture of Mr. Torres, a couple pictures of Mr. Torres, but nothing that the state was objecting to. So that was at their request that they wanted photographs in. So that is incident 4, which is labeled OCSO 19-078009.
With regard to seemingly the body-worn camera that the state seeks to enter into evidence from August 28, 2019, what say the defense?
Well, John, I don't know about the state's position on this. There's a portion of this video at the very end that's very personal to the investigating officer that they may want to redact. We're not asking any of that.
Is the state seeking any redactions?
I'm just clarifying what their redaction requests are in that particular file.
Okay.
If they don't have any, then
So are there any redaction requests with regard to that particular file?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. I'm just keeping notes. Give me a moment, y'all. As to the 5th incident, Mr. J.
No redaction request, Your Honor. I do want to point out that we were apparently advised yesterday that the state was only going to use the 3rd video possibly. And so we haven't really spent a whole lot of time worrying about it since then.
Let me clarify as to what the 5th incident is, just so that we're all on the same playing field.
Okay.
Judge, the 5th incident is OCSO 19-079759, and that was on September 4th of 2019. Within that screenshot that I sent to them, both Friday and then resent it this morning. was photographs of the defendant taken at that time. At their request, shows a cut in her ear. It's 3 photographs. Then there is also one body-worn camera labeled 1924755. Oh, strike that. 192473549_GEN_INV, and then the 911 call from that incident.
Any redactions sought by the defense with regard to that specific body-worn camera or 911 call?
Well, we're not necessarily seeking redactions, Your Honor. However, there are 2 separate videos. One seems to focus on Jorge Torres, one seems to focus on Ms. Boone, and there is clearly some redundancy. They're both body cams. One went upstairs where Mr. Torres was found hiding in the shower for bathroom, master bath. And so some of that's redundant, but there are actually 2 separate videos pursuant to the fifth.
Mr. J, are there 1 or 2 videos that the state's seeking?
There's one, the one that I listed, filed for non-court order.
Okay. Do you know if that's Bruce, can you find out what counsel's here for? Is that the video from the perspective of, as identified by Mr. Beck, one more geared towards Ms. Boone or one more geared towards Mr. Torres?
My interpretation of both of them is there's interactions with Ms. Boone, and then there's interactions with Mr. Torres upstairs after he's located.
Mr. Beck, the specific file number was identified. So just to confirm, no redactions? Okay, all right. So just as a recap, with regard to the first incident, the 911 call, the parties have agreed to redactions at the timestamp of 351 towards the end. With regard to the second incident, body-worn camera, a redaction from timestamp 940 to 943 has been agreed to. With regard to the June 15, 2019 incident, there are 2 911 calls and 1 body-worn camera sought by the state, to which the defense has no redactions. The August 28, 2019 incident, for which there is no redactions to the body-worn camera, but there is a 19-page PDF with photos that the defense intends to be included with that submittal, to which the state has no objection. As to the 5th event, 3 photos of the defendant, body-worn camera, and a 911 call for which there are no redactions. Does that clarify everything for the state?
Thank you.
Is there anything that I stated incorrectly, Mr. Beck, Mr. Henderson, or Mr. Owens?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you very much. Moving to the next issue with regard to the 119 pages from Winter Park. Defense, are you in a position to provide, I believe we discussed it either Friday or I think it was last week, we discussed it as to how it was culled down. Yes, because we had the Richardson hearing on Friday. How that list was culled down and the additional pages that the state was seeking. And then if they were able to find, I believe it was page 68, we would readdress that. Have you provided that finalized exhibit to the defense as to those specific Winter Park health records from the 119 pages that the defense may be seeking to enter into evidence?
I believe they've received everything from us, Your Honor. We identified those documents that were not specifically addressed by the defense, that the state wanted extension out of the rule of completeness. I believe we're...
But my understanding from Mr. J was that they were looking for the tangible copy of what it is that you were actually looking to move in, those 12, 14, 15 pages. Okay, if you could provide that to them by noon, I would appreciate it.
I'm not sure if it exists, Your Honor. That's what we're saying.
But if it's going to be moved into evidence, we have is it going to be moved in paper form, or is it going to be moved in digital by virtue of a CD?
We can get it, Judge. We'll work on it.
Okay, perfect. Just get it to the state. It doesn't have to be intangible. Just get them what it is that if it's in electronic format, that's fine. Just the state should be entitled to know what it is that y'all are intending to move out of those pages just to confirm it. Lastly, with regard to hospital records of the victim, I know there were conversations and discussions about that list being narrowed down. The state has advised that details as to those narrowed down records has not yet been provided. What say the defense?
The hospital records for the victim, George Torres.
That's my understanding.
We need to do that, Judge. We've got to do that.
Okay. My understanding is that the experts are potentially teed up to testify tomorrow. I don't recall if those records are a basis of the experts' opinions.
The second expert is not likely to testify until Thursday. She's testifying in Bay County tomorrow. I will be here Thursday, and I spoke with Dr. Brandon last night. He will be present tomorrow morning as soon as he gets here from Coral Gables.
Did either Doctors Brannon or Harper rely on those medical records?
No, not Dr. Brandon.
Dr. Harper did. It's in her deposition that was taken a couple of weeks ago. I think the question was posed.
Ms. Perez, good morning. If you're here for pretrial, 19 Alpha, Judge Myers is covering.
I went up there.
Okay, thank you. You may continue.
Dr. Julie Harper, I know she considered the records of George Torres, and we took Dr. Harper's deposition, I believe, a couple of weeks ago. She was asked by the state about everything that she relied upon, and she did indicate that. Are we going to use or attempt to introduce those records? We'll pare it down if we are.
Okay, you've got till 5 p.m. today to advise the state as to what of those culled down records you're going to be utilizing. So they have the opportunity to review those in advance of Dr. Harper testifying.
And I apologize to Madam Court Reporter for speaking on top of each other. Dr. Brandon is testifying as a subject matter expert. He does not have specific familiarity with this case, and so there are no medical records or any other records that he has relied upon other than his knowledge and expertise.
Okay, all right. State, any other issues we need to address with regard to the discovery issues that you brought to the court's attention this morning?
No, sir.
Okay, all right. Moving now to the motion. I have reviewed that motion.
Judge, we were not aware of the motion until he made mention of it, so we need some time for the lawyers to review it, for us to discuss it, and to see whether or not it has merit or not.
Okay. It was e-filed last night, looks like 9:37, and then sent courtesy copy to myself through Ms. Barrios and you, Mr. Owens, at 9:38 last night. I'll give the opportunity to review that, and we can address it after the lunch hour. And that'll give the court the opportunity to do any research during the lunch hour on it as well. All right, anything else, Mr. J, that,
I looked at it briefly. I'm not for sure exactly what the allegation is. I don't know if we need to talk about that. So excuse me?
I'm not.
Can we approach the bench?
Sure, come on up, Yo. All right, thank you all very much. With regard to that motion, we're going to table that for now and address it potentially this afternoon. State is advised they're ready to proceed. Mr. J shook his head yes. Defense, you ready to proceed? Mr. Owens, you ready to proceed, sir?
Yes.
Thank you. All right. Ms. Boone, are you still satisfied with your lawyer's representation of you in this matter?
Absolutely.
Are you still on board with the strategy that they have employed in the use of your defense?
Yes.
All right, let's go ahead and stand and bring in our panel.